Welcome into the Cougar Tailgate, where BYU fandom lives. Here's your host, Lauren McLean.
What's up, everyone? It's good to be here with you as always. Spring sports are ramping up, and this weekend is jam-packed. We got golf, we got softball, and we got baseball. Later in the show, junior third baseman Austin Deming joins me to talk mid-season expectations, MLB, and who he's got winning the Masters. And speaking of, the national buzz is all about none other than Tiger Woods and what he overcame to play in the Masters this weekend. So in honor of him, we'll be discussing what our favorite athlete comeback story of all time is. And joining me in that venture is none other than the church volleyball champion himself, Ben Bagley. What's up, Ben?
I am doing good, Lauren, and you know what? Thank you for bringing that up. I'm going to disqualify myself from this greatest athlete comeback thing, despite coming back from an ACL tear to win a region championship in church volleyball. Yes, but I'm humbly going to disqualify myself from this list. Maybe an honorable mention.
It's top 10, though. Top 10.
I'll give myself honorable mention.
All time.
Yeah, it's up
I'm
there.
proud of you, Ben. I'm very proud of you. Were you MVP of the game? That's the question.
Oh, heck no. No, not at all.
You step foot on the court. That's all that
a
matters.
participation trophy.
That's right. All right, well, MLB opening day was Thursday. The Masters is on, and both BYU baseball and softball are playing at home this weekend. So, Ben, where are you going to be with all that going on?
Masters, no question about it. I'm not a Major League Baseball guy. I don't even play one on TV or the radio. I've never got into Major League Baseball. I know people love it. Good for them. Cheer your hearts out. Just not for me. I can't spend 4 hours watching balls and strikes. I just can't do it. I like going to the ballpark. I just don't like watching it on TV. So it's the Masters. I love the Masters. I tried being a contrarian for a lot of years, saying, "Oh, it's not the Masters, isn't even it's just pomp and circumstance." It is. It's great. I love it now. It's a fantastic tournament. The storyline with Tiger Woods coming back is an amazing storyline. The fact that this tournament, it just celebrates tradition. I mean, you got the Champions Dinner, which is the most exclusive dinner invitation on the face of the earth. You got to win you got to win one of the best, hardest tournaments in the world to get it. So, 11 or about 19 guys getting that invitation every year. It's just an amazing. As pompous as they are at the Augusta National, which kind of makes me a little bit iffy about it. Just the golf is great. The scenery's great. It's the same. It makes you know spring is here, and you can get excited for summer.
Too bad the green jackets are so ugly, though. You know, they could have picked something a little more slick, but that's all right.
It was probably cool in the like 1901. I mean, maybe green was in that. I don't know.
That's probably true. Now it doesn't look great, but I don't think they're thinking about that, nor do they care. Ben, from my perspective, I kind of want it all. I want to be outside in the beautiful weather watching softball. Can I make you an argument for softball, by the way? I love baseball so much, but I really love watching softball. It's quicker paced. The field is smaller, so the plays are quicker, and it's a blast to watch. The Cougars are having a phenomenal season, by the way. Anyway, golf is nostalgic for me as well because my dad would watch it while eating potato chips and ranch dip while drinking a Pepsi. That is like my childhood in a nutshell right there. So that sounds pretty dang nice to me to be doing as well. But since I have small children, Ben, and sitting still for more than 5 minutes really isn't an option, I'm going to go with softball for this weekend. But you mentioned the Masters, and there really is just an incredible feel surrounding. And this year with Tiger Woods and everything he overcame, he's made a phenomenal comeback. And he was in a horrific car accident a year ago that left him with a shattered ankle and 2 leg fractures. And honestly, he's lucky to be walking, let alone competing in this year's Masters. So
it's interesting, Lauren, and watching him walk the course. It's been amazing to watch because you can see the pain. Like I noticed something that he did on the green on Thursday when I was watching the opening round, and instead when he goes down to place his ball before he putts. Normally they crouch down and put it down very gently and kind of get a look at the read. He's holding on to his putter to brace him and as a cane and bending straight over to do it. And I'm like, that's fat out of shape me on a golf course doing that. That's not a professional golfer. That guy's in pain. I know that feeling.
Oh, that's crazy. And that's like the type of stuff you see football players doing. Usually not golfers, but that car accident really has done a number on Tiger Woods. All right, with all that in mind, Ben, what's the best individual athlete comeback story of all time in your opinion? Give me your top 5.
Well, I went for extra. Thank you. I went for extra
You're
credit. You
welcome.
asked for my best story. I'm going to give you a top 5.
All right, let's hear it.
You want to go? Here we go. Let's start. No, is there a drum roll? No, just kidding. Let's go number 5. And this one's kind of interesting because most of mine are going to be off the board here. You're going to be surprised at some of them.
Okay.
Number 5, I'm going to go James J. Braddock. That name might sound familiar for some of you guys if you've seen the movie Cinderella Man.
I was just gonna say, is that really sad that I recognize the name, but I don't know who it is?
Yeah,
But now that
Russell
you say
Crowe. Think
Cinderella
Russell
Man- Yeah,
Crowe.
Russell Crowe. Got it.
No, it's a true story. This is a guy who's a washed-up fighter during the Depression era. I mean, the movies are based on a true story. Of course, they kind of took some liberties. And
Right.
just because the promoter needed a body, hey, you used to be a boxer, come fight. And he fought and won and eventually wins the heavyweight championship of the world after being a washed-up boxer. An amazing comeback story. Number 2, and everybody knows this name, but they don't always know the history behind it. Tommy John, an actual Major League Baseball player who had a ulnar collateral ligament tear in his elbow. Some doctor had this idea, did the surgery. That used to be an end-of-career surgery back in the day. This is in 1974. He has the surgery, comes back, and has a relatively good career on the back end of it. It was so successful that surgery is now named after him, and they've perfected it. And Tommy John surgery is no longer a scary thing. It's like, oh, yeah, you'll be back next year. You had Tommy John's. No big deal.
Wow. That's cool.
Cool story. Number 3, actually, I'm going to switch. I'm going to leave this one for number 2. But number 3, Tiger Woods. And it's not this comeback. It's his other comeback when he can't. It's his
2019 Masters.
Correct. After 4 back surgeries and sitting out for much of the year and a half previous, he comes back, finishes top 20 in his first 3 PGA Tour starts, and then sits out a week or 2 because of neck soreness, comes back, competes in the Players, competes in another, I think the Travelers, I can't remember, but then wins his 15th major in his 5th green jacket of the Masters. Amazing story, the fact that he's doing that after back surgery.
I'm excited to hear what your next 2 are, because to me that might be the greatest comeback story of all time, was Tiger Woods in the 2019 Masters, because it was the first ever since 2005. I think he'd won 5. Is that right, Ben? Before 2005?
Yeah.
And then he had the longest break, I think, in golf history before the next one, and that was until 2019, where even Michael Jordan said that was the greatest comeback of all time. And do you remember that picture of all the people following him
Oh, absolutely.
behind him? Incredible. I've
Yeah.
never seen anything like that. All right, well, I'm excited to hear your next
All
two
right,
then.
this one, I've always been impressed by this. It's Monica Seles. You remember she was world number 1, a really young tennis player. Everybody had these great hopes that she can be a phenom and the next greatest tennis player since Martina Navratilova, everything else. And all of a sudden she gets stabbed on the court. A crazy guy comes out of the stand, stabs her, and almost kills her, right? And she's got to not just recover physically, but she recovers mentally. Could you imagine having to go back out on the court after something like that happens?
I forgot about that.
And so
That's crazy.
mad respect to Monica Seles for her comeback. And she came back. She won an Australian Open. She won a Canadian Open after her comeback. She was never as good as she was before. That's not a knock on her. That's just a statement of fact. But the fact that she mentally overcame that and came back is frankly, it should be number 1, but my number 1, and wait for this, Lauren, because you'll love this one.
Okay.
The number 1 sports comeback by an athlete would be Rocky Balboa in Rocky 3 after being beat by Clubber Lane and watching his manager die in front of him, his father figure, his trainer, the one and only Mickey. Moment of silence. Rocky comes back and defeats Clubber Lane to re-win the heavyweight championship of the world. Rocky 3. Thank you very much.
Monica Seles is really offended that you picked Rocky Balboa ahead of her, but I couldn't agree more, Ben. What a great comeback story. Rocky Balboa, you're number one. I love it. Those are some really good ones. I'm going to add in a few more of my own.
Go, let's hear him.
All right. Tom Brady. You love to hate the
Boo.
guy. You love to hate the guy.
Boo.
His comeback this year after coming out of retirement. All right, though, listen to this. Drafted in the 6th round of the 2000 draft, so he was kind of an underrated underdog before. Wins 3 Super Bowls, has a really bad knee injury, and then he wins 4 more after that. 7 Super Bowls total. The winningest QB in NFL history. He will be 45 years old when next season starts. Ben, how old are you, Ben?
29. Me and Tiger,
Someone
29
Google
years
how old
old.
is Tiger Woods? Yep. You're around the same age. Aren't you as Tom Brady? Maybe a hair.
I'm a little older, maybe.
I don't
Yes.
wanna say a hair older, just a hair though. We're talking a couple years. Okay, but think of yourself really still playing in the NFL. Incredible. Just an incredible feat. You love to hate the guy, but I like him as one of my comeback stories. Another one, because I love him, Peyton Manning. Ben, he won 2007 Super Bowl with the Colts, had a broken neck and spinal fusion in 2011, and then he ended up winning the Super Bowl with the Broncos in 2015, throwing 55 touchdown passes that season. I think it was the most ever in a single season up until that point. I can't imagine breaking my neck and having a spinal fusion and then going to play quarterback in the NFL.
The thing that made Peyton be able to come back from that is how smart he was, and he could outthink everybody. That even if he wasn't where he was physically, needed to be physically, mentally he was that far ahead of everybody else. So
Yes, he's incredible and doing incredible things on commercials. By the way, I love
he's
that guy.
must see
And
TV. He's so good.
oh, he really is. A couple other quarterbacks that I like on there: Kurt Warner, Joe Montana. Kurt Warner, he was stacking groceries for a few years before winning a Super Bowl as a rookie. That is such a cool story. Joe Montana had back surgery and then won 2 more Super Bowls for the 49ers. Here's a good one for you, Ben. Bethany Hamilton. Do you remember her?
Go.
You remember Bethany Hamilton? She was a rising star in surfing at 13 when her arm got bit off by
Oh
a
yeah,
shark.
Soul Surfer.
Remember
Gotcha.
her?
We love the
Soul,
comeback movies.
Soul Surfer. Yep.
Tim McGraw
She
was in that one. My
started
wife
surfing
remembers.
again. That's right. Did you say your wife?
My wife loves Tim McGraw. I've seen everything Tim McGraw only because of that.
He plays the husband in every sports movie. He's Blindside, Friday Night Lights, Soul Surfer.
Yeah.
Way to go, Tim.
Yeah.
Anyway, Bethany, she started surfing again 1 month after her arm got bit off. I just can't even I can't even fathom that. And she won her first national surfing title 2 years later and became a professional. So Bethany Hamilton might be one of the greatest sports comeback stories of all time. I'm going to throw her in here because I get her. Serena Williams, she had recurring shoulder and knee injuries, but what I think is incredible, she had a baby at the age of 35, which was me as well, and she came back and won some more Grand Slams.
She's
and that ain't
amazing.
easy to
She is
do,
amazing.
Ben. She's just on her own level. She's just such an incredible athlete, maybe the best female athlete of all time. We'll see. And then for me, Michael Jordan didn't make his high school basketball team when he was first tried out, and then we all know how that ended. Incredible comeback story. Really though, so my husband, he tried out for baseball around that same age. I think Michael Jordan was like in ninth grade, didn't make it. He didn't make it, and he's like, "Well, the heck with it, I'm not gonna play," because that really does kind of mess with your mind as a little kid, right?
Wait.
And
Did
so
you
the
just
fact
did you just compare your husband to Michael Jordan, then throw him under the bus?
I didn't throw him under
Dang,
the
that's
bus.
cold.
No.
That's
No, I'm saying
cold.
he has regrets, but I am saying Michael Jordan inspired all little kids to keep going. And then he became the greatest basketball player of all time. Okay, so my BYU comeback story, Ben, is Taysom Hill. Suffered several season ending injuries in college where many told him to hang up his cleats, right?
Yeah.
Now he's making millions.
And now he's
Playing
doing
for the
another
Saints.
comeback story in the pros with after Liz Frank last year.
Yep. Oh my gosh. And he's going to be playing tight end, which is incredible. I remember talking to him his senior season and him kind of mapping out his financial career. Like he wasn't even really
Yeah.
talking about the NFL. And of course, that's what he wanted to do. But everyone's like, oh, no. And he's a really smart guy. So you knew he was going to have success. And so the fact that he is now making millions playing for the Saints, and would you say he's a household name? If you're an NFL fan, don't you say he's a household name for NFL
He's one
fans?
of the top-selling jerseys in New Orleans, and that's impressive for a guy who's always been the backup quarterback. That's an impressive feat. That's really cool.
All right, I asked you all on Twitter. I gave you 4 options: Tiger Woods 2019 Masters, Michael Jordan, Peyton Manning, Serena Williams. Tiger Woods won 77.3%.
You didn't give him
Ben,
Rocky III?
I did, I didn't give him Rocky 3, but in hindsight, I really made a mistake.
By the way,
'Cause that
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention one more, and maybe we're knocking Rocky III, my kind of sarcastic one. I mean, and I know he's a Ute, but Alex Smith with a leg break
yes.
and
Yep.
then the infection that almost killed him after the surgery, coming back, and even though he only played a few more games, that's pretty darn impressive. And having covered and known Alex, yeah, you got to give him a tip of the cap on that one as well.
I love that one. I love that one. I watched this story on ESPN. He seems like such a great guy, and he almost lost his leg. So that was
Yeah.
an incredible feat for him to come back to the NFL. Ben, what does this say about the mental state of these athletes? Obviously, some of these injuries and situations are graver than others, but I dare say most people would call it quits after these things happen to them, and maybe for the best in a lot of situations. But these athletes are built differently mentally. What do you think about that, Ben? What do you think it's
That's
different about
exactly
these guys?
right. It is. It's totally a mental thing. It's I mean, it's easy to go Tiger Woods because he's the headliner right now. I think Serena Williams is definitely in this as well. They are just wired different, and you can see it. I mean, the drive. Like, we didn't think 2 weeks ago Tiger Woods would be even thinking about playing this tournament. I mean, just a year and a half off that car accident that almost took his life, destroyed his leg. They had to basically rebuild it. He's barely being able to walk, and they're walking now Augusta and playing that. And they ask him, "Do you think you can compete?" His answer, "I do." That's it. And I'm just like, oh, yeah. And watching him play this week, you just kind of see that intensity and that drive. Thursday, he's got a putt for birdie on I think it was third or fourth hole. And it's going in. You see him start that tiger strut to the hole, and it lips out, and you just see the frustration. And I'm just like, oh, he's wired in. This is not a ceremonial. Look what I came back thing. This is, I want to compete and I want to win. And you know what? I'm just like, I went camping last week. I went on my son takes me on these hikes. Thinks that I'm a mountain goat like him. It's a week later. I'm still sore, and I'm supposed to golf tomorrow, and I'm wondering if I can do it. I'm just not built that way. I don't have that wiring in my head.
Yep. Even though some of these guys, especially I feel like golfers, not all of them are like in the best of shape. Some of them are. So some of them are built physically similar to the rest of us, but it really is just this mental side of them that is completely different. And I know Tiger Woods does take care of himself physically as well, but it is crazy to see him kind of walking around like an old man, but still doing very well in the Masters. So I'm rooting for him. Ben, who do you have winning the Masters, real quick?
Tiger Woods. No, I'm joking. If he
Say it.
yeah,
It's all right.
dude, it's hard. The joke was back in my sports talk radio heyday. Is right when Tiger Woods is like, Tiger of the field. Who do you got? And it was a serious question.
Right. It's true.
I'm not. We're not to that point anymore. I don't know. As far as my Masters pick, I would love to see. I like John Rahm. There's something about John Rahm that I really like. And normally there's a little bit of nationalism in golf when you're following. You want the Americans to do well. And I know he's a Spaniard, but he's just. I just like the way he carries himself and kind of just is. The other guy, the American I really like is DJ Dustin Johnson. I'm a big DJ fan. I think he's off really, really good.
I love it. Well, have a blast watching the Masters this weekend, Ben.
I'll get
and
my
I hope you
potato
get some-
chips, ranch, and a Pepsi ready. Let's go.
Good memory. That's right. Oh, I love it. Ben, thank you so much. And up next, BYU Baseball Junior third baseman Austin Deming joins me to talk the Cougars, MLB, and golf. Don't go away. This is Cougar Tailgate. Welcome back to Cougar Tailgate. I'm Lauren McLean. 'Tis the season for baseball with both college and the MLB underway. The BYU Cougars were 14-12 coming into this weekend against Santa Clara, hoping to gain some momentum heading into the second half of the season. And joining me now is the Cougars' junior third baseman from Santa Clara, Utah, Austin Deming. Thanks for coming on, Austin.
Thanks for having me.
All right, so you've been playing baseball your entire life. I know your dad played at SUU, but where did your love for baseball come from?
It's like you kind of said, it's always just been a part of my life. Both my mom and my dad love baseball. They love the Dodgers, so it's always kind of been there. Like my first memory of playing, I was probably like 4 years old. We used to live in Las Vegas actually before we moved to Santa Clara, but just playing in our little apartment complex down there. That's probably my first memory of baseball.
That's so cool. And you mentioned that your mom loves baseball as well. I know she was battling cancer through your high school career. How do you feel like that has changed you as a person, being able to go through that and continue playing?
Yeah, it it's kind of a hard thing to explain, but it definitely made me mature at a younger age than I probably was ready for. But it was good for me, and anyone that's been involved with something like that knows that obviously it affects the person that has it, but it really affects the people around you, and a lot of changes had to be made at a young age in my life.
Oh, absolutely. I can't even imagine. I'm sure you're a stronger person and your families as well. So the MLB opening day was Thursday. What was your reaction when you heard the lockout had ended and you're going to be able to watch some of your favorite teams again?
Oh, excitement, of course. I was nervous just like everyone else, wondering when games were going to start happening, but baseball's awesome. It means warm weather's coming, so you can go sit out and watch some baseball. I love it.
Absolutely. Do you have a team that you like to watch?
Um, I'm a little bit of a bandwagon. I like the Yankees growing up, but I've kind of meshed over to my family's liking of the Dodgers. They're the closest team to us in St. George, so I gotta like the close teams.
I'm okay with that. I think that's all right. Who's your favorite MLB player right now?
um, Mike Trout, you gotta like Mike Trout. Just the way he plays. He plays hard all the time, and he's good while he does it. So I like watching him a lot.
I like watching my Trout, and I like him as a person. He just seems like he kind of tries to stay out of the media, right? He kind of just
Yep.
focuses on what he does best, and that's one of the things I love about him. All right,
Yeah.
Austin, you're halfway through the season. What's been your favorite thing about being on the team so far this year?
I think just the biggest takeaway that I have from baseball is just the relationships and the memories that I'll be able to take on through the rest of my life. I mean, in 10 years, I won't look back and think, oh, well, I played so good or I played so bad. I'll just think of the friendships that I've made and just the memory, just not even like a memory in particular, just all the memories that I've made and the good people I've met along the way.
Absolutely. And you guys have done some stuff like on TikTok and Twitter that has gone kind of viral. What do you think of all that?
Yeah, it's funny because this is my fourth year here, and this is the first year that they've kind of like really been pushing that. And I think it's funny. I think it fits in with what's going on today. I mean, everyone's on TikTok, so I think it's funny seeing my teammates on there and doing funny stuff or just trying to engage with the audience some more. I think it's good. I think it's funny.
Absolutely. All right. So we mentioned that you guys are about halfway through the season. What does BYU need to do to gain a little momentum at this point in the season?
Yeah, I was gonna say momentum, like you said at the beginning's the word. We just gotta. I think we just need to kind of get a couple wins in a row. I mean, that's baseball. That's all it really takes. We've had like a good game here and there, and then kind of a down game. I think if we can just kind of get a couple good ones in a row, it can kind of help us carry it into the next one and the next one, and kind of just build up on it.
It's interesting how that happens, isn't it? Mike Littlewood's your coach, and he is just a phenomenal human being. What is some so like you mentioned, you've been here 4 years. What's something about Mike Littlewood that you think most people wouldn't know?
I think how he cares for his players. He's definitely hard on us, but I know he cares for us and wants the best. And I think that if you like you said, if you didn't know him, you wouldn't know that he truly cares for us and he wants the best for us and it has our backs.
I love that. All right. I know you played other sports in high school. If you weren't playing baseball, which sport would you be playing?
If I could change my height and weight, I would play basketball. But if I have the body structure I have, um, my dad's a golfer, probably play golf. I like golf. It's a hard sport, but it's always been in my life. That's kind of like the sport my dad moved on to after baseball, and he does it as a career. So I think golf probably.
I think if a lot of us could change our height and weight, we'd be doing different things. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's at least for your height, it's not plausible. All right, you mentioned golf. Who do you have winning the Masters this weekend?
Um, it's hard to not root for Tiger. He was my favorite growing up, but kind of my favorite right now is Rory. He needs that. If he wins the Masters, he's got the Grand Slam, I think is what it's called. It'd be cool to see him do that. But obviously it'd be cool to see Tiger win after his accident and what he's been going through. So that'd be cool to see him win.
Absolutely. One of the best comeback stories that I've ever heard. All
Yeah.
right, so if when you're not playing baseball, what's your favorite hobby to do outside of baseball when you're just trying to relax and have fun?
I'm kind of a lazy bum sometimes. I like just kind of sitting around or, sitting by the pool, just kind of hanging out. But I got a few friends back home that love golf. So I mean, if we're all available, we'll try and go play some golf and just kind of hang out. And golf's a good way to just kind of hang out and talk about life. So
Absolutely. Well, you grew up in Santa Clara, Utah, which is very hot in the
yeah.
summers. What was your favorite thing to do in the summers there when the heat was
Um,
so bad?
I mean, yeah, anything in the water, the lake. There's like Sand Hollow down there, the lake, or even just like I was saying, the pool. That's fun. Anything in the water is fun, just to kind of cool down and hang out.
Absolutely. BYU Cougars junior third baseman Austin Deming with me. Austin, thank you so much for taking the time and good luck with all your games this weekend.
Of course, thank you so much.
And that does it for us today. Thanks again to Austin Deming and Ben Bagley for coming on the show with me. You can join the Cougar Tailgate virtually, of course, every Saturday at noon Mountain Time, or download, rate, and review our podcast on Apple, TuneIn, Stitcher, Spotify, or on BYURadio.org. This is Cougar Tailgate.